think we're on. I think we're on. I think we're, well, not live, but we're live. Welcome back.
Right. Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. I believe the last time we spoke properly on the podcast was during lockdown.
Yeah, it was a good few years ago. That now, mate, a good few years ago. We hadn't really been up and running too long by that point. We were still kind of all locked indoors and just trying to survive life as best we could.
Yeah, it was a weird time.
Yeah, mate, very weird. Yeah, very weird.
And
I hope it never happens again.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I don't know, mate. There's stranger things. There's stranger things. I just hope we don't end up locked up like animals.
That's just mad. It's mad. That's the only way to describe it. It was.
You know what though, mate? Like as weird and as shit as it was really nice from a kind of club perspective, because I'd set this up just before lockdown when we were all clueless that COVID was even a thing. And it was really kind of aimed around, fitness and how fitness improves your mental health and whatever else. And I was really trying to get the club kind of up and running. So it was November 2019 and then obviously March 2020. So not even 6 months. And then obviously we all found ourselves in lockdown. And I think it really helped boost the club and what we were doing and what we were trying to achieve, because everybody just had time on their hands to do it. So, we were setting up kind of crazy 30-day challenges and home workouts and stuff to try to keep everybody ticking by. And everybody loved it because you had time. Nobody minded about doing thousands of burpees a day and crazy doing, you know what I mean? Because they had nothing but time on their hands. And it's one thing, as shit as that time was, mate, it's one thing I do kind of look back on and wish that we still had a part of that, at least.
Yeah, definitely.
The club in a good stead of about how we are getting to where we are now, really.
And I think it changed a lot of people's perspective on things in terms of we were locked away and you were isolated, but yet you were still looking to find that community, like that community spirit. Like even going out and doing the clap for the NHS, which was a bit bone really, but still, it's like the only time you got to see anyone, and it sort of gave people that realization of how important like community is.
Life is, mate. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing that 20 years ago? Not even 20 years ago, 10 years ago, before the likes of Facebook and Instagram and social media.
That's mental.
Because lockdown put a lot of people in a bad place, mate. Like you say, through isolation and through not seeing loved ones and stuff. And I remember going to see like my dad and see my missus' parents and stuff, and they had like NBC suits on, me and like full Romeo to go and hug their mom and dad. It's kind of it really had a negative impact on a lot of people, mate. And I think we're kind of lucky not lucky is not the word, but lucky in the respect that we had social media and we had WhatsApps and we have smartphones and stuff to kind of still have that ability to reach out to your friends and loved ones. I couldn't imagine doing that 10 years prior or 15, 20 years prior.
Definitely not.
Social media, mate. It would have been a lot harder. And I think it would have had a lot more of a negative impact on all of us.
Definitely. It again, similar to yourself, it worked wonders for myself and the podcast, because as you said, people had time.
Yeah.
So like previously it was mainly myself recording in the shed, or occasionally I'd have my brother on, and then all of a sudden I was pinging out messages to people like yourself and saying, fancy a chat on? Oh, definitely. Yeah, 100%. It's like, fucking hell. It just helped grow that in that sort of aspect. But again, I could see the also the negative side of it. Like, I was lucky I had the missus and the kids inside, but my missus is very family orientated, so her not being able to go and see her family, her nan and granddad and whatnot, it was a killer for her. Like, and she's self-employed as well, so
I mean, it flattened
almost killed her business, almost. But luckily, unless you're bold, like people are always going to need hairdressers. So she was lucky in that
My
aspect.
missus does the same thing, mate. She's got a beauty salon, and
Yeah.
I know she got a lot of help with funding from the government through COVID, and that certainly helped keep the business, or at least keep the premises kind of there, ready for when COVID kind of lockdown finished. But even then, mate, when it all finished, she still had these plastic screens up, and they all had masks segregated, and they had to be 2 meters. Such a weird time. I do miss that time though, mate. I do miss the time that we had, like I say, like for the club especially, because those challenges that we ran, mate, through months and months of lockdown. Honestly, we did some great stuff, and it helped build this kind of community into what it is now. And I do often speak about it. I wish we could kind of go back into lockdown without the whole COVID lockdown bit.
Yeah.
A bit of time to do stuff again, because life at the minute, mate, in comparison to that especially, is very, very busy, and work's getting busier, and family life's getting busier, the kids are getting older. You know, it's hard to try and keep up the pace with the club and the Instagram page, and try and keep everything balanced. It's impossible, and unfortunately, obviously, work pays the bills and family comes first, and everything that kind of has to take a backseat is typically not the club, but the kind of the me being on Instagram. Like when I set this up, I was on there daily, mate. You could record a 20-minute story on Instagram back then if you want. They kind of limit you to a minute now, and that's probably my fault. I was on there for hours of the day, mate. And they've probably thought, who the fuck is this guy? We're going to limit these to a minute and stop him gobbing off. But I do miss that, mate. I do miss being on there all day, every day, and just kind of egging people on to go out and get shit done.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not that I'm not doing it now. I just haven't got the time that I had.
It's crazy how quick everything went. It's like when they went, right, the restrictions off. It's like, right, full steam ahead. But you can also see why that had to happen, because I mean, they've ruined the economy. And not that I'm fucking smart enough to know what's going on with the economy, but I know for a fact that they fucked it up by closing all those family-run businesses, the small businesses.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're a huge chain, you know, and the government made the rod for their own back, because they're like, well, we're going to have to help pay for you to keep your business going. It's like, well, there's a lot of people that've got their own businesses.
Yeah. Weird time.
Fucking weird.
But yeah, kind of. I guess it kind of molded the club into what we are now. We've evolved a lot from me just being on there and, you know, egging people on and posting workouts. We've kind of now evolved into like a weird hiking club, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
And again, mate, that was partly down to lockdown, because everybody just wanted to be outside, and how do you get a big group of people outside other than running some kind of boot camp that I really never looked into? Let's get in the hills, and then that's how it kind of started. And it just kind of set the ball rolling for where we are and what we do now. And we are still here, mate. We are still doing great things, and we are still, you know, fundraising for small mental health charities and doing everything that we were doing nearly 5 years ago now. We've just took a little bit of a different turn. And again, me kind of in a personal life with injuries and niggles and stuff that I've had, I'm not the same crazy lunatic running around, burping at every street corner and that, you know. I'm still getting shit.
You got to test and adjust, don't you?
I'm getting old now, you know, and I've got to got a reason. I've got to know what my limits are and kind of work within a reasonable limit these days. But mate, it is still fantastic what we're doing. We've still got loads of stuff on this year, and I dare say for the years to come too. And the club's not going anywhere. You know, it's just I've had to slow it down a little bit. And again, that's just more my appearance on the page and in social media and the likes, just because busy dad life, mate. And I'm picking when I'm home one full time. So I work away obviously still. So the little one stays with her mum when I am away. And then when I'm home, she comes to me full time. And obviously she is my priority. And
as it should be.
Exactly, mate. Yeah, of course. And everybody understands that, mate. Of course they do. But it's just crazy daddy-daughter dancing life, because that's all she does. She dances every night of the week apart from a Tuesday. So the is kind of when we have our kind of chill out time, you know, and we can spend a bit of time together. Every other day, mate, it's pick her up from school, rush back home, quick snack, back out the door, 25 minutes to dance, and she's in there for an hour or whatever. If it's just a short one, I'm kind of sat in a car park waiting for her because it's pointless driving 25 minutes back to drive 25 minutes.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes they're a bit longer, sometimes they're a bit shorter, but yeah, it's every day, mate, every night. I'm hoping she gets a little bit of a break from it, a little bit of a breather from it during the next kind of couple of weeks, because she's broke up today, as I'm sure the rest of the country has.
Yeah.
Easter. But she's back in there at 4 o'clock tonight, mate. She's in there 4 till 8, so she gets absolutely beasted. But she loves it, mate. She absolutely loves it.
Yeah, my eldest does dance. She does dance on a Tuesday. She used to do 2 hours. I think it was 2 hours straight. So it'd be from like what was it? 5:30 till 7:30. And she was fucked by the end of it, to be fair. But yeah, she now does just the hour, and even then, her coaches are beasting her, and she's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
Dad, I had to do the plank for God knows how long." She was like, "They're saying that I'm not flexible enough. I need to practice on my stretches." And I went, "I've been telling you need to do that." I went, "You're supposed to be a gymnast." She does gymnastics as well on a Friday, and I went, "You need to work on your flexibility if you're going to go a bit further." She's like, "Oh, but it hurts." When it's supposed to fucking hurt. You're
it's
stretching
like
your
us all.
muscles.
Everybody teaching me about mobility and flexibility and stretching and stuff. And
Oh,
mate, you know,
I'm the worst for it.
like troop phase in the morning, you'd have a quick fag, put some chores, and off you'd go, you know, and
Yeah.
you're cool down with a cold shower after.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like a fucking wardrobe. I'm as flexible as a wardrobe, mate. But no, you're right. You're right. It's mad when I look back on like even basic training or squadron phys or anything like that. Like most of the time, we had been out the night before. We rock up and they're like, right, we're doing a 5 miler, 5 miler death for those that know, and you just fucking crack on.
Yeah, well, mate, you were fit enough to be able to do that back then,
If
though,
I
mate.
if I got told to go and run 5 miles now, oh fuck me.
Yeah, I've had to become a runner again.
Yeah, I might have to walk.
Injuries I've got now. Yeah, mate, I don't know how we did it. And mate, if you look at it now, like there's such a different breed of soldier coming through the rank now, mate. You look at the kids in basic training and stuff now, and I was down at Limston, and even that was quite a long time ago. I was doing a firearms course down south for maritime security, and we stayed at the Sergeant's Mess in Limston. And even then, mate, and that must have been 2015 maybe. Even then, mate, these lads were going through training and doing everything that we were doing back in the day, by which time you'd kind of finish your day and you would just want to pile in and you'd have to sort your rig out and get yourself ready for the next day. These kids are going into the gym afterwards, after they've been smashed all day, and doing CrossFit and doing weights. And I never had any interest in that when we were all fit, superhuman fit. These guys are now, mate, these days, mate, they're all massive, shredded, and absolute machines.
I've seen something similar, because obviously you got is it Coach Chadwick, the paratrooper guy. He's now created like books and proper fitness guides for the upcoming paratroopers or the upcoming infantry soldier and things like that. And you're like, I never even thought of, like, I was told, be at a certain level, we'll get you to where you need to be, and then we'll continue. It's like soldiering first, but now it's like you got to be like
uber fit,
fucking almost uber fit. And it's like, it's in comparison, if you look at like football players these days, like they're all uber fit. None of them go out drinking as much. You look back in like 70s, 80s, 90s footballers, they're all on the fucking piss.
The Gazzers and the
likes
of...
they're all on the piss, but yet they can still turn it on a Saturday and still be the best you've ever seen.
Different breed, mate. Different times, different eras, different generations, mate. The same. Everything's just changing. Nutrition is now a huge part. Where when I was in the Corps, mate, I'm too. You have a fry up
first thing every morning. Yeah,
have as much food as you can through the day, and then you'll have another fry up at 9 o'clock at night for your 9 o'clockers. But I mean, you needed it. You needed it. And now, mate, you've got these like dietitian plans that these guys are sticking to. And I dare say it's doing them the world of good. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't change the time I was in.
Yeah, we'll find out if something kicks off and see how good they are then.
Oh, yeah.
We had the different mentality. We could take the beastings and eat all the shit
while absolutely hanging out your ass. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if you could have a comparison of if you didn't go on the piss and you actually looked after your nutrition and stuff and kind of what you'd look like after your time in the service to kind of what you did, if you did what the boys are doing now and you were into nutrition and into CrossFit and into weight training and stuff. Because as much as I love weights and stuff, mate, I didn't have any interest in lifting weights until I left the Marines. So probably around 2010 when I went out to work in Iraq, and I got out to Iraq doing hostile CP, and I just looked around at all of these monsters in like the kind of canteen and things. Yeah, I need to get on up massive here. And because I was always just a runner, mate. I used to run my weight and stuff like that, but I always took pride in just being a really good runner. And it didn't really matter out there because I was just this tall, skinny kid, and I was surrounded, because it was an ages contract as well. You had loads of Yanks out there as well. And some of these guys were like college footballers and shit, mate. Do you know what I mean? They were huge, huge guys. I remember one guy, mate, he had to be in the Bravo wagon, so the second wagon out of 4, because that was the limo client wagon, because he was so fucking big, he couldn't physically fit in any of the vehicles. And these are like huge B6 Toyota, bomb-proof Land Cruisers, you know, and the fucker couldn't fit in them.
Just couldn't fit.
So Bravo all the time.
You know, that's mental. That's mental.
There was some units out there.
You still doing the maritime and CP?
No, mate, no. So I'm doing close protection now, mate. I went into the hostile stuff when I left the Corps. Thoroughly enjoyed it, mate. And enjoyed it probably a little too much, because it made me wish I'd got out the Corps a couple of years sooner, and actually had a couple of more years at it, because it was great, mate. And it was great because it was a civilian contract, and they threw money at it. So your wages were fantastic, but not just your wages, mate. Your weapons, your vehicles, the kit you had. You were never kind of left scraping around for kit, mate. It was just done properly. Yeah. Lads out there were phenomenal. You had like a 10-day induction course that was obviously pass or fail that you had to do. It wasn't just kind of, here's your CV, here's your flight, and then join a team. No, it was done properly. And I had nearly 3 years of that, mate, that I thoroughly enjoyed. But as with everything, mate, they start undercutting each other, and money starts changing, and that affects kit and lads and stuff, you know, because there is still better jobs. So it just became time that I thought, right, I'm going to get out of here before it goes too bad. A lot of lads were leaving and kind of going on to the gas stuff down south, so staying with the same company but going on a different contract. But it was literally, mate, half the money. And at that time, it was kind of when the maritime thing had kind of kicked off already. And in truth, mate, I didn't even realize piracy was a real thing. You know, someone says, and I'm thinking Captain Jack Sparrow and the likes. You know, I had a bootneck mate of mine, one of my best pals, Andy Tierney, actually rang me up while I was in Iraq still, saying, "You'll never guess what I'm doing." And I was like, "Come on then, mate," because as far as I knew, mate, the kid was working on a fruit stall in Newcastle. You know, after he left. She made up chasing pirates, and I was just like, "Ha, yeah, very funny. What are you really doing?"
Of course you are, mate.
Like protecting these vessels going through like high risk area out in the Indian Ocean, and we're kind of getting rid of the threat of Somali pirates out there. And he just went into kind of a bit more detail about the kind of money, how it's just at that time it was like a bootneck only company that the next bootneck had kind of set up called PVI. It did change as the years ticked by, but it was great, mate. And every time you went out, it was just like being on a beach in Sri Lanka on this massive bootneck reunion. So I did that for quite a long time, mate, as well. Once I left Iraq, and then I really only left that because my little girl, she started kind of getting towards that age. I've got this huge North Face bright yellow grip, mate, that used to just go everywhere with us. I'd come home, it would go in the loft. It would come time for getting on a flight, and it would come down a couple of days before, and I would leave it in the front room, and I would kind of fill it up as I was going. And she started to understand what that yellow bag meant. And it meant that Dad was going away, and Dad wasn't just going away for a week; he was going away for a couple of months. And it started getting really upsetting me. And it never really affected her when she was little. Obviously, she didn't have a clue what was going on. But as she started getting towards those ages, mate, where you could kind of have normal conversations and feelings and emotions and stuff like that, you know, it really started getting to her. And I'd be taking her back to her mom's, mate, and she'd be in tears clinging on to us. And it just started getting really hard, mate, really heartbreaking. And I knew then that although the industry was still going back then, it was my time to kind of say goodbye to it and look at something a little bit more relaxed with a little bit more home time and
Yeah,
actually.
that totally makes sense. Like family is first.
So yeah, so I'm with a family in London now, mate. I've been with them since beginning of 2018. So coming up 6 years now.
Oh, nice.
Mate. Great gig again, great lads. And yeah, it's very good, mate. It's a very good package. We get to go on some good deployments overseas still to some very nice places. I'm very lucky, mate, in that respect, with work wise.
Yeah.
I know a few guys who struggled since getting out the forces, as I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
And I dare say, I think one of the reasons I haven't is because I've always been surrounded by the lads. From moving the cause, I said there, I was in Iraq, I did the anti-piracy stuff, and now I'm on this CP gig in London. I've always been surrounded by the blokes, and they're more than just your mates. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you'll agree that you have that support network, you have that community, you have that bond with them that is completely unbreakable, mate. And even some of the guys who I've got on this gig that I'm on now, I only know them through this job, but they're just the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're blokes. It's just the same, and it's great to have that constant support around you. Do you know? So I think that's one of the reasons I've been.
It's something that I've said it before on here before, I'm sure. It's something that civvies don't fully understand, and that is that bond. But they forget that.
That was a good statement, that mate, but it is the truth. It's an unbreakable.
Yeah. And even like as you said, now you're on a CP contract, you're surrounded by blokes you didn't necessarily serve with, but because you've been through a similar, not saying that everyone's gone through the same sort of arduous training as the Marines do, or the Paras do, or even the mighty RAF Reg do. It's got to be said. It's got to be said. It's got to be said. We're third. All right, we're third, guys. All right, big three. Yeah. But I find it, in terms of infantry soldiers, I say they're a little bit more different. That's not very good English, but they're a different breed. They're a different breed. Like you've got your squaddy, you've got your engineers, you've got your MT drivers, you've got etc. etc. Yeah, they've gone through a little bit of like army training, or infantry type training for that. Was it the initial 8 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever they do? Basic weapon handling, etc., and then they go off and do their trade training. We are literally shoved in the shit for 28 weeks plus, and then including your extra bits. So they're different for a reason.
Guys in those branches who have served in different branches and whatever else, but yeah, you're right, mate. And I think it does take a different breed to do what we did and what we went through.
I mentioned it on a couple of podcasts ago as well, and I think like the likes of myself and yourself that have gone on to go into an industry where it's quite heavily military orientated in the security industry, or the CP, maritime, etc. So you've got that little bit of movement into something new that is also quite similar, not 100% similar. But that also being said, going from being infantry soldiers into being civilians is a hell of a switch, and not a lot of people can obviously deal with that. But also, civilians don't understand that our first port of call is to win the firefight. So if we're doing security and someone starts a fight with us, we're going to end the fight. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to de-escalate. We're going to end the fight. So that sort of comparison is quite different. Obviously, maritime and CP, you can actually go on the aggressive a bit more. But in terms of like my type of security, we're supposed to de-escalate, step back, and then react that way. But my first port of call was always, if you're going to pick a fight with me, I'm just going to end it before you can start. And that used to get me in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, like you say, mate, that was always your go-to one. If you come under attack, win that firefight. It's different now. It's the same as what you're saying there with the security role that you're in now. I have to obviously make that switch and make that transition. It's not about going in there now all fucking guns blazing or whatever else, mate. It's about trying to avoid that danger in the first place now. You know, if we have clients, we are out on the ground with them. we're not walking shoulder to shoulder, mate. We're more in a protective standoff role, so that we can.
I get you.
What's going on around, you know, and it's just being able to identify those threats or identify the danger that could present itself, mate. And it's not like being in Iraq, mate. It's not like being in Afghan or in maritime or doing whatever, mate. It's different, you know, but the threat is still there, mate. And in London especially, mate, and some of the places that we go around the world, mate, there is some serious crime. And I'm sure you've seen some of the stuff on the news lately, mate, these train journeys and stuff with kids in London.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the knives, mate, and muggings and phone theft and stuff, you know, and it does go off, mate. It does go off, and we just have to be able to identify when we think that might go off.
It's the craziest thing I've noticed about those sort of muggings and things like that. And I'm not expecting anyone to be a hero when a knife and things like that is involved. But the first thing that people do at the minute is get their phones out. I'm going to record it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in. I see. Are you talking about the one on the train there the other day?
Yeah, I saw it the other day. I think I was on Twitter. I think it was fucking massive. Yeah,
massive. And yeah, it's difficult to watch that, mate, because like you say, the first person or one of the people there pulls the phone out to kind of record what's going on, and the train's full of people not even looking, not even acting, you know. And
it's difficult. It's a tricky one in that sort of situation because I don't know. My mind I might be made up differently, but
and again, mate, I think that's what
I wouldn't be exactly thinking. I wouldn't be thinking I'm going to be a hero here. I'll be thinking I need to protect that person.
And I think the difference there, mate, is that the majority, I'm not saying all, the majority of people priority is obviously self-preservation.
Yeah, of
course. And if someone's got a fucking 10-inch, that's self-preservation.
Yeah.
If I go and intersect that and try and help that person, I'm going to end up in the back of an ambulance too. And I think that is the switch, mate. I think that is the difference. I think that is, and again, not everybody, mate. There's plenty heroes out there who are civvies, and there's plenty you see it on the news, mate, all the time, and plenty of people do step in and stop these things happening. But yeah, I think it's just having that. It's that fight or flight, isn't it? Like anything, mate. It's what do I do here? Do I run and do something about this, or do I get away and
it's a tough situation because not a lot of people would know what to do in a situation like that anyway. I think we're lucky in the training that we've done prior and the training on CP courses and things like that. They sort of guide you into what to do so that you've got that fallback, as in resort to default. I've already been trained how to do it. I just need to put it into practice. And, average Joe on the street is not going to potentially have that. Where it sort of does a big sort of circle on that, people, I think most people should try and get involved in some sort of self-defense class at some point in their life.
I completely agree. It's not just for self-preservation, it's great for the mind.
Definitely.
When I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu a couple of years ago, I was kicking myself because a good friend of mine, Sam Laird, he's now black belt at BJJ, black belt judo, bloke's an absolute ninja. And he used to always preach at me, mate, you need to get a BJJ, you need to get a BJJ. I was like, yeah, I will, I'll do it. I eventually took the leap, mate, and got into it a couple of years ago, and it was the best medicine for my mind that I think I've ever had, mate, because things like BJJ, mate, where you're not essentially striking and kicking and punching and like you would in a fight. It's like a mental kind of chess game, mate.
Yeah, my brother said exactly the same thing. It's like chess.
It's creating gaps that he'll see as a vulnerability and kind of go for, which will allow you to set a trap. And mate, it's so good for your mind, and it keeps you completely like what I started this club on, mate, with the crazy, horrible circuits. When you're doing something like that, you can't focus on anything else, because as soon as your mind wanders, the reps differ, the time changes. But in BJJ, mate, as soon as your mind wanders, you're going to get fucking choked out.
Yeah.
And I
And it's
really love
humbling as well. It's
that.
humbling as well because you're like, oh, this,
Very,
this,
very,
I'm technically dead now. He's just killed me.
exactly. It's very humbling, mate. I'm 6'4", mate, and at my best, I'm a 17 stone guy. I've lost a bit of weight and size now with this bloody shoulder injury of mine, but it's when I was doing BJJ, mate, I was still a big guy. And you go up against, like a 5'5" guy, and you kind of weigh him up thinking, I am gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
Mate, you know what? Strength, size, whatever, it just doesn't it plays a part, mate, but doesn't come into it in BJJ.
Yeah, definitely. I saw a clip the other day of Demetrius Johnson.
Out by someone half your size. Very humbling.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched a clip the other day of Demetrius Johnson, and clearly he is an elite fucking fighter anyway. But it was a open weight Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match. I think they were both brown belts. I don't know how Mighty Mouse isn't a fucking black belt, but anyway, Mighty Mouse is shorter than me. I think he's 5'3", maybe 100. I think he was weighed in at 150 pounds. I think so. He's obviously not in fight weight, but anyway, the guy he fought was about your size, about 6'4", but he was 200. He was nearly 100 pounds heavier, and you saw a couple of times. He's obviously got DJ and threw him a little bit, and then as soon as DJ got his leg and got him down, I was like, how has he done that? He's tiny, but then he taps him out with an armbar. It was incredible, and I was like, that's brilliant. And I had a similar thing. I think I've mentioned it before on here. It's a while ago now. It was way before lockdown. I used to run or help run one of those military style boot camps, and the lead instructor, he was a purple belt, and he said, "Oh, when you come down for a roll, I heard you've done a little bit before." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem." I was like eyeing him up. I was like, oh, I could take him. He's about my height, but I'm a good solid, probably 30 kilos heavier. I was like, I've got him. I'm easy. He felt so fucking heavy when he was on top of me. I was like, I don't know. I don't even know what to do. I was like, I've got a basic grasp on certain things. I'm no means any sort of expert in it, but I was like, I can hold my own. But this guy, technique was incredible.
It's different, man. It's completely different street fighting and everything else, mate. Where you're striking, it's such a great sport. And if anybody listening or watching this has ever kind of gave it a second thought, you should really just go and do it, mate, because I absolutely loved it, and I'm quite devastated that I'm not able to do it to the ability I was doing it prior. It's a great sport.
What did you do to your shoulder?
So I've got this degenerative disease in my
Right.
neck, and I've gone kind of through 5 years of getting injections in it. So I get a nerve root block, which basically stops the brain. It kills the nerve for a period of time. So I guess it's like Botox for your nerve, and it kills the nerve. So where my vertebrae are, you should have discs in between. And at the minute, my discs have kind of gone. So my vertebrae are essentially touching, and it's stopping the signal getting to where it should go, and stopping me bicep mainly working how it should. And I went through 5 years of having these nerve root block injections, which kills the nerve for a 4 to 8 month period, and your brain naturally sends the signal a different way, so everything works as it should. I got to about the 4.5 year point of that, and the injection just didn't work. So I went back, because it's through the NHS. I went back 6 months later, had another injection. He tried a different method, different nerve, different area. Still the same, didn't work. So I kind of said, right, okay, then now's the time. I think we should go ahead and do this surgery that he pushed and pushed and pushed for this entire period since 2018. The only pain in the ass about this whole thing is I got diagnosed with this. Diagnosed, not the right word. They found out what the issue was that I was having with me trap. About 3 months after I'd started this job that I'm at now, and we get private healthcare and stuff for this job. Like I said earlier, it's a very good package. Now the private health won't touch it because it was pre me starting this job, and I have to be 2 years clear of prescriptions, medication, appointments, anything before they'll actually even look at it. So it's all having to go through the NHS, which, as you'll know, mate, it's all just a very, very slow process.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, this surgeon kind of pushed surgery from the get-go and kind of said, look, this is going to be the only cure. You know, this will work. It'll do what you want it to do, but you're just kind of masking what the issue is. Get surgery, get surgery, get surgery. got to a point, mate, 2 failed operations, or sorry, 2 failed injections. And I said to him, right, okay, that we should really think about surgery now. So it's not as simple as just going in one day, mate, coming out the other and going back to work next week. It's quite a horrible, horrible surgery where they're going through the front of your neck. They clamp everything to one side and they get to your spine through the front. They kind of drill out and hoover out what is left of the discs that should be there.
Jesus.
And then put in fake ones. So I would have had 2 fake discs put in. They unclamp everything, they stitch you back up, and you get put in a head brace, mate. So I would have had this contraption strapped to my head for up to 12 weeks.
Fucking hell.
So it's not as simple as just saying, let's go ahead with this and get this done. It would have meant like a good 4-month period, mate, out of life, really. And I'm talking bedridden, or at least on the sofa. You can't shower for 6 weeks. I wouldn't have been able to have my little girl because she lives about 20 minutes from where I live now with her mum, and you're not allowed to drive for 12 weeks because you've got this head brace on and you obviously can't
move. Yeah, fuck, mate.
So it would have had a really, really negative impact on life, which is why I put it off for the long run. Anyway, we get to the two failed injection points, and I says, right, we're going to have to really look at this and get it done now. It's not working. I love lifting weights. I love training because that's really the only hindrance it has on life. It's just really affecting like me training. It's not really affecting anything else. It does hurt sometimes, but I get tablets that can handle that. The injections do still take away a bit of the pain. It's just not doing anything for the signal getting there. So I planned work. I'd planned with my daughter's mum. I'd planned with my daughter. I'd planned with my missus here that I was going to go away for a long time over Christmas and essentially do 2 back-to-back deployments and be away for the best part of 2 months. But what that would do with work was give me the 4-month off period to have the surgery 2 days after returning back, and then recover fully and get the physio and everything that I needed. So we get to November, just gone, and I got back in touch with the surgeon guy and said, look, I still haven't heard a date about getting an MRI, because he wanted to do an MRI so that because I was going away in December, he wanted to have the best picture he possibly could of how my neck was and what the issue was looking like before doing the surgery at the end of January. And then that's when he turned around and said, all right, yeah, no, we're not going to do the surgery anymore. It's a waste of time. So I was obviously very, very confused and baffled by that statement, because for 5 years, or best part of 5 years, mate, he's pushed surgery on me. And what he's basically said, so I've then got to my GP. My GP's then sent a letter to him. He's then got back in touch with me. I've then went and had a face-to-face. It was all over probably about a month period, from the beginning of November to the beginning of December. So I've gone back. I managed to get a face-to-face with this guy. He didn't have a clue who I was or why I was there, which was annoying, but I understand these guys have seen hundreds of people. And I walked in and he was kind of said, all right, Mr. Vickers, how's the neck? How's the arm? 3 choices as usual. Live with it, have the injection, or have surgery. And I was like, right, well, obviously I want to have the surgery, but you told me 4 weeks ago that I can't have the surgery. I need to know what's going on. And that's when he kind of twigged and realized who I was and was like, oh yeah, sorry, sit down. So he sat me down and basically, what these injections do is they mimic the surgery that we will carry out 100%. So 4 years ago, when you were coming in and having the injection and the pain was going 100%, and your shoulder and bicep was working 100%, I would ring you back up. He always rings up 6 weeks to kind of check you out. And if I was ringing you up and you were saying, yeah, 100% fixed, 100% no pain, everything's working as it should, thanks very much, he could then tell me at that point, right, surgery will work 100%. You should have the surgery because it will cure it. And it will be the only thing that actually fixes this long term. What he's saying now, which he has never warned me about any of this, what he's saying now is that because the injection isn't fixing like the issue with this, the signal going to like my bicep and kind of rear in my shoulder, is that the surgery won't cure that now. It's now at a point where the nerve is kind of permanently damaged. So I, of course, said, well, why would you not tell me any of this over the 5 years I've been and seen you twice a year, every 6 months for 5 years now? Why would you not say, if you leave, it's going to
sounds like something that should be passed on.
Yeah. he was just kind of like, I don't know. So I said, right, well, what do I do to fix it? And he was like, well, do you not think if there was something else, I would tell you? So I don't know, mate. I'm a bit in limbo at the minute because I'm still waiting for a second opinion, because I don't feel like this guy's really been that open and honest. And I have an appointment on the 24th of April, actually, when I come back from work.
Oh, nice.
Go and have a second opinion, and just see what they say. I'm even looking into stuff like stem cells and that now, mate, because I've heard some great things about stem cells. The only downside of stem cells is obviously the price. It's crazy money. But there's a company out in I watch a lot of Joe Rogan podcasts and stuff.
Same. I was going to say that's where I've heard it.
Mate, who do it, and he raves about this guy out there. I've actually been in touch with them, and because the family we work with go to the States a lot, I could go on a trip to the States, and then kind of when I would normally come home and have a couple of weeks off after that trip, I would stay on and you pay this price. They give you like this 1 week package where it's a hotel in, I think it's San Diego. Then you get driven from San Diego down to Tijuana, which is only apparently like 40 minutes. 6 nights accommodation or in a hotel in Tijuana, and they pick you up every morning and take you in for the stem cell treatment. So I sent off my latest MRIs and all my medical records to them on Monday, just gone. The woman who I've been in touch with has been great help, to be fair. And she's passing all that up to the doctors there to see if they believe that it will actually make a difference. They say, look, we turn people away on a daily basis. So they are very honest. We've got enough business kind of coming in and money coming in that we don't have to put in the door. We do turn people away. So what I would like to just send this up first and make sure that it is gonna actually be beneficial to you, because like I said, it's a big old chunk of change, mate. But if they can tell me factually that it's going to work and I can go back to training how I was 18 months ago, it's worth paying me,
Oh, definitely.
We'll see.
Health is obviously the most important thing. So, and getting you back into a routine where you can train how you want to train, because obviously that not being able to train the way you want to train is going to affect your noggin as well.
Exactly, mate, and that's what it really plays a part on like I say with the club too, mate, because this club and especially the social media page and the Instagram behind it was always built on the fact that it was me on there. I was doing these workouts, I was doing these circuits, I was breaking them down for people, I was showing you how to do them, and now, mate, without that, it hasn't got the same kind of following it had, and that's because I'm not on there doing it.
Yeah,
the amount of messages that I used to get through, mate, on a daily basis when the first couple of years of this club, thanking me for what I was doing and for the workouts and for the inspiration and for this and for that. And obviously that ceased now, mate, because I'm just not on there able to do it. And it's not because I don't want to do it. I can't physically do it. There is still stuff I can do. But the passion and the drive for it, when you can't do what you want to do, it's great, saying, oh, well, you can still do this, you should be passionate about that, and it's easy to say that, mate, and it's not that I'm not about training. It's just that the passion that was here is now here because I can't do a lot of the stuff that I was doing and I love doing. It's not the same. And that obviously does play a part on kind of my mental state and where I'm at with phys. I used to wake up on a daily basis, and the first thing I do would be come out here and get shit done. And now, mate, I find myself sat in the kitchen looking out the window with a cup of coffee, just kind of looking at the gym, thinking, I love this. I'll go out. And next thing, mate, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I end up doing work. I think, I've got that stuff to do for work, so I'll get that done first on the laptop. And then an hour's gone, and then it's 1 o'clock, and then it's a rushed session then because I've got the little one to pick up at 3 o'clock, and it's just not the same as it was. And that, like I say, mate, that is really down to this injury and not being able to do it. And I know it does have a bit of a negative impact on the page and the club itself, but there's not a great deal I can do to change that while this is how it is.
Yeah, definitely. It is good when you do pop up on the page, because it's like, it's going to be a fucking a golden nugget coming out of here. It's always good, and it's always good. I've because obviously we've got a mutual sort of online friend, you could say, with Chris Michaels. He loves it, doesn't he? He loves it.
he's on every one that he could possibly get on, mate. He does his own shit too, and obviously tags us in. And like I said, mate, it's kind of, it's good in the fact that we did really, because of lockdown and because of COVID and stuff, we did evolve then from this kind of fitness page into this kind of hiking club that we've become now, because we do loads of stuff every year, mate. We've got some big stuff coming up this year too. I'm down with a few of the gang on Sunday, mate, doing this Mount Everest challenge.
Oh yeah.
There's basically, I'm not sure how I got signed into this, if I'm honest. My tail end Charlie guy, Justin, who's on every hike that we do. He's the guy always at the back, making sure that he sweeps everybody in and sweeps everybody out, and everybody gets off the hill. He's a fucking good guy. And I call him my tail end Charlie. He signed us up for it, mate. He created a WhatsApp group. He paid for it. He did it all. He just kind of said, right, guys, this is what it is. You're all coming. And we're like, right, yeah, all right. And this was probably 6 to 8 weeks ago when it kind of started. And I just kind of look at my work rota and think, can I do that? Can I not do it? If I'm off work, I can 100% do it. And I was off work. I'd never really concentrated on the dates.
Yeah.
I've got closer to the date, and my missus is like, you know that's fucking Easter, don't you? And
Is it?
The kids are off school. It's fucking Easter. We're doing Easter egg hunts. We're doing all this, and you're going to fucking run up and down a hill. You stupid bastard! What you playing at? And that's what. And there's a hill basically, mate, in Bury, and it's got Peel Tower on the top of it. I've never heard of the place before now, but it's from the bottom to the top and back to the bottom again is 1 mile. So as a group, you've got to just go up and down and up and down and up and down this hill in Bury, until you've reached the height of Everest. So those fucking stupid batshit crazy challenges, mate. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, we're doing it to raise money. We've done some t-shirts and stuff, and we'll ask some guys to put some money in the pot for a bit of sponsorship or donation. So make sure you stick a tenner in there, mate, after this. And yeah, mate, it's one of them things, mate. We've got an actual club hike as well the following weekend, mate. So we're all in Keswick. There's about 20, 25 of us out in Keswick, mate, doing what we do best. There's a 19k route around Catbells and Robinsons and a few others, mate, that we're doing next weekend. So that'll be good, mate. We're kind of got this campsite, or we've overrun this campsite really, down there. Arrive on the Friday, mate. Have a bit of a Ginganguli Friday. Up early Saturday, mate, and then off into the hills early morning. Get that route cracked. I try to do. I've always been a bit different with these things. With the challenges and stuff that we do. So the first one we ever did was I kind of sold it as the Royal Marines 30 miler. That was the first one that we did coming out of lockdown around the Yorkshire Three Peaks. Bit of a grueling challenge, that one, mate, in all honesty, because the route itself is only 26 miles. I say only. It's a big old route, you know. So we stuck an extra 4 miles on the end of it. So you kind of come to the end of this 26-mile route. You start at the same point, you go around a loop, you finish at the same point, and then I'm like, right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Metal road for 2 miles, mate. It's the most grueling, horrible 2 miles you'll ever do.
Yes.
And then you
that's,
turn
that's
around.
That's a bit like when you go out on the tab, and then you're on your way back into camp, and you're like, oh, I can see camp, and then like, prepare to double. You're like, what the fuck?
Exactly that.
Absolutely not.
I like to always do things different, mate. We've done some crazy shit in the past, mate. We had extreme snow, mate, which I'll never ever forget. That'll stay with me forever. More because of the weather, but we were all carrying kettlebells and stuff up there, mate, and we had weighted vests on and stuff. And that was a grueling hike, mate. The weather was not on our side, and it broke some people. That one,
Wales doesn't fuck about, does it?
Mate, you can either have one of the most glorious hikes or the shit time of your life in Wales, because I've had some great days in there where we've just had clear blue skies and awesome weather and been fantastic. But yeah, some of the worst ones I've done have definitely been down that way. And yeah, mate, we've got Kilimanjaro too in June, which we're doing, which I cannot wait for. This will be the first time we've ever kind of went international, really, with the
international, international jet setters,
you know. So there's about 15 of us going on that, which is
nice.
great. And what I've tried to do, which doesn't seem to be working great, but I've just tried to keep one pot open. So instead of opening a Just Giving page for every event that we do, which is what I do normally do, I've just kind of opened one for the Kilimanjaro, in the hope that, you know, everybody will just kind of put into one pot, so that come July when we finish the Kilimanjaro hike, we've just got a big chunk of change that we can just set off to different charities when we do come back. Because that's always been what we're about, mate. We always raise money through the t-shirt website and through doing the hikes and the sponsorships and donations. That's always been what we've done. It'll never change. Raise as much money as we can, and then we hold a little club vote after, you know, and decide on small mental health charities. It's always the ones you've never heard of or rarely hear of. It's not the big ones.
The ones that really need it. Yeah.
You might give them 500 quid, and actually the people who need that might only see 100 quid of that. We're not about that, mate. So yeah, mate, we've got all sorts going on. Even after Kilimanjaro, I want to do like a family barbecue type small hike, so that people can start bringing the kids, because I'm getting a lot more interest from the kids back home here too. And
I bet
have a bit of a more fun weekend. We did one, I think it was 2 years ago now, with Op Spartan with Stevie Burns, and that was more family orientated and stuff, you know, and it was great. So I think we're going to put one of them in the summer too, and try and get some of the family involved, because you get a lot of individuals on these hikes too, you know, and the missuses might be at home, or the partner or the husband or whatever it is will be at home because hiking is not their thing, or they don't want to do it. Where I think if we involve a bit more of a family event, we might get a few more people turn up as well, you know.
I totally get that. Like if I was gonna join in with something like that, my missus would be like, nah, fuck that noise. But saying that, she has started to go out more. Like she's the one that's now suggesting we go out for family walks and things like that. It was quite funny actually. So she sort of suggested it yesterday as a thing to do today. But since then she changed her mind. But anyway, but the two girls were like, oh, and I just looked at them and went, you do know that you two will grow up one day, and you'll be like talking to your kids and saying, shall we go for a walk? Mum and Dad used to take us for walks all the time. And it's like, you got to remember that. Like, you got to cherish those sort of moments, I think. Like, I would have loved to have gone out for family walks with my mum and dad.
If you'd have told me 10 years ago that I would have a club that just goes hiking in the mountains all the time, I would have said you were wrong, because my only real experience of mountains is from mountain training.
Same.
And it was always just an absolute thrashing that nobody ever enjoyed. You were never having fun up there. Do you know what I mean? It was always just bleeding from your eyeballs and crying from your arse. You know, so if you'd have told me that this is what I'd be doing 10 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. But after that first one, mate, after that one that we did, that 30 miler, and pushing that belief on people that, you know, you can do this, even if you think you can't, I will make sure that you get around that route. I will ensure, not just me, the people there, everybody will make sure that you get around that route. You know, take that leap, come and join us, come and get it done. I'll prove you wrong, and better, you know, you'll prove yourself wrong. And we had a huge group. I think there was 34 of us on that very first hike that we did. And that completely changed the club there and then on that day for me. And I knew then that was the direction that we were going to take this, because the whole fitness mentality and mindset and you know, having that beast in yourself is great, mate. It's fun. It's fantastic. You know, phys does play a huge part in your mental well-being. I'll always preach and say that, because it does. I've done it. I've been there. I've got the t-shirt, and I always feel better when I've done a session, even if it is a run, even if it's just coming out here and doing what I can do. I still always feel better after it. But the benefit when you're up in the hills with these people, the therapy sessions that you can have up there without even actually knowing that you're having a therapy session is fucking second to none, mate. And it's great watching these people overcome themselves and believe in themselves and prove themselves wrong. You know, some of these, like I said earlier, some of these challenges we've done have been grueling, and 90% of the club is made up of civilians. We're not all armed forces. Bootnecks or RAF or Paras or what, there's a few ex-mill guys and girls in there, but most is civvies, mate. And to watch them inspire themselves and motivate themselves and thrash themselves up and down these hills, and the sense of belief that they leave them hills with, or leave that weekend with, or is great, mate. And I really do take huge pride in what we've created here with the club and the community that we have. We've kind of got this die-hard, I don't know, 30 to 50 people who are always with us, always on the events and challenges and Tough Mudders and hikes and fitness things that we do. And the little family and little community that we've built there with those people is phenomenal, mate. And it is. I've never had better therapy than what I get up on the hills with those people. And the money's great, mate. The fundraising money and the charity stuff is great. It is great that we do that. But even if we raised 20 quid and we weren't able to donate a huge amount of money, it wouldn't matter, because what is also important is that group of people on that day on that hill doing what we do.
Yeah.
It really is some of the best therapy that you'll ever get. It really is.
I have a similar thing with it, because I started a charity football team, which we mainly raise money for Rock to Recovery, because I believe that they're fucking superb. But I've spoke about them enough on here. But yeah, the community that we've got in terms of the lads that I've put into the team, there's a mixture of, well, there's a lot of ex-mill guys in there. There's a couple that are still serving, and there's a few civvies dotted about. But I grew up in football. I grew up in the locker rooms, in the changing rooms, with the banter flying about, and I didn't realise how much I missed that until I started the team, and we were in the locker room, and straight away, there's some of the lads that I've known from back home that I hadn't played football with for fucking 15, 20 years nearly, and they come in and the banter's already started. And I'm like, it's made me feel better already, and just the two events that we've done already have been superb. The next one that we've got in Hereford, so we're actually technically having an away game. I'm going home basically, so I'm going home, but everyone else is away, and already it feels different. Like, it already feels like it's bigger than the other two, and we've decided to do it as you don't buy the tickets per se. It's going to be donations on the gate. So we think that hopefully we might be able to raise more money that way, because people might go, well, I'll donate fucking 20 quid instead of a £5 ticket, that sort of thing. And we've got some brilliant auction prizes from some amazing fucking artists and things like that. But even down to, I've managed to get the Army Cadets involved. So the Army Cadets are going to be part of our Guard of Honor as we walk out, and they're going to be walking around with the buckets and stuff like that. I was like, that's brilliant. I never even thought of that before. But my oppo in Hereford, Paul Mann, aka Biffo, he's a civvy. He's a civvy, but he's heavily into the mental health movement, you could say, in helping people with mental health struggles. And as soon as I said that I fancy doing another game, he was like, I want to get involved. And he's been fucking brilliant with some of the organisation that he's doing as well. And even down to the club where we're actually playing. I played for them when I was from under 13s to under 18s, and they basically went, you can have the pitch. You can have the pitch, as long as obviously the bar's not free. So we'll be using the bar. And I was like, yeah, we will be using the bar. Don't you worry about that. But the fact that they went, oh, the pitch is free. Well, all the previous games we've done where I am now in Kent at Maidstone, they were like, oh, it's like nearly 300 quid to rent the pitch, and it's like, but that's 300 quid that could go to a charity. But yeah, it's just a sense of community that we've built within the team, and it just, although the group we've got on WhatsApp, that does seem to, you get
You
lost in
take
all the
down
messages. it's supposed to be
quite a few.
solidly for the football team, but then you're like, hang on,
We've got a
this,
few, like,
there's
quite a
people
few
having a
like
conversation here. With each other.
cats. Ours is. And yeah. Chris's cat gets quite a good highlight on our chats.
Oh, does it?
But yeah, fine. So what I do is we've got like one main Jim Self-Harmers club chat that stays there. It remains there. You know, it's for the happy birthdays and the likes and the banter flows every now and again. And then when we have an event, I create a separate group for the event
Yeah.
for just those 20, 30 people in the event. And I kind of open that one up, usually say, right, guys, this isn't for banter. This is for, down to business. This is what we're doing. Here's the warning order. Here's this, here's that. But you can't help that. It does occasionally
It does
flow.
happen. Yeah.
Yes, there was an hour conversation going on about fucking cats. And people hate them, people love them, people, yeah. And it's because we're doing cat bells. And I'd created this image of a cat wearing a bell. Well, I changed the Dennis, I call him, the Jim Self-Harmer's demon. I gave him like a little nose and so you look like a cat. And it was like, I'm not having a fucking cat with my t-shirt. I fucking hate cats. And then the vets will pipe up saying, well, I fucking love cats. I'm having a cat. And, oh, mate. Yeah,
yeah, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. The annoying thing for me was I was trying to get. So we basically the lads will buy their kit. So it's only 30 quid. Top quality kit that I'll give them a shout out that Kit Lord produces, where it's personalised to FC Granite Zero. It's got the badge. You get your name, your number, all that size. All I wanted, right, was for the lads to give me their size, what number they wanted, and obviously my bank details so that they could pay me so I can pay him. I've put that in there. Next thing I know, there's like 40 plus messages. So that my message is now disappeared. And then everyone's like, well, what's the bank details? What's the kit look like? And it's like, fuck me.
Pinning messages now is my new thing.
Yeah,
because
I've just learned how to do that.
Everyone can just find it at the top. Yeah, I'll just pin
Yeah.
things and then I just mute the conversations these days.
Yeah. I don't
There are
blame
the
you.
days. If you're not, obviously there's the message.
Oh, fucking hell. What movie are you going to go watch at the cinema? That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, so the little one's obviously in charge, mate. She's broke up for school now, and she's opted for Kung Fu Panda 4.
I'm jealous because I want to see it.
Panda 2 or 3. I've seen the first one, but yeah, we're going to go see Kung Fu Panda 4, mate. She's requested nachos and cheese and all that good stuff, mate. So yeah, we'll go there after this.
Top
mate.
bins. Top bins. Yeah, we went last week. We had a daddy-daughter date. Me and the two little creatures. We had to go see the new Ghostbusters. Amazing. Loved it. Yeah.
See,
the two new ones they've made are basically they're carrying on from the original two. So there's loads of nostalgia bits in there that for us old people that have seen the other ones, you're like, oh, brilliant, and then the new ones are like, oh, this is brilliant. It's great. It's great.
Yeah,
but Rob,
it was Kung Fu Panda, Ghostbusters, or Godzilla Kong.
Oh, Godzilla Kong, yeah.
I mean, she's opted for Kung Fu Panda. Mate, I'll say about 20 minutes of it, mate.
Yeah, you'll be asleep.
I've fallen asleep, got snoring in there, and causing absolute mate. That's usually what happens. I'll probably see 20 minutes of it at best. I'll eat my nachos, mate. I'll just roll back.
Especially in these new seats. Yeah, hat down. Love all that.
That extra £4, mate. Premier seats, you've got to pay it, man. Because
might as well. Forking out enough for the tickets anyway, so it was £4 extra.
An hour and a half sleeping, mate. Then that £4.
Mate, good admin. Good admin. Rob, I won't take any more of your time up because I know you've got a day planned with the little lady, and I've got to go make sure my big one is up. Lazy little fucker, just laying in bed all fucking day. But yeah, mate, I've awesome news about what's going on with the club, and hopefully you get that fucking shoulder sorted and your neck and everything else that's falling apart.
It'll fix itself, I'm sure, one day, mate. No, thank you for having me on, mate. It's been good to catch up. It's been too long, pal.
Yeah, definitely.
You take care.
And you, mate, you keep in touch. I'll speak to you again soon. Hey, mate, bye.
Guys and girls, you've reached the adverts. Now, welcome. For me, I like to use CBD oil. and there's nothing better than Kent CBD. So make sure you check them out. I use them to help with my PTSD, my depression, and my anxiety. I use the oil. It is fantastic. Highly recommend it. But not only that, I use their muscle rubs for the aches and pains that I get in my joints, especially my knees and my ankles. I rub that shit in, and it's fucking brilliant. So make sure you check them out. Put in the promo code GraniteZero at checkout and get yourself 10% off. You're welcome. But not only that, if you like to support veteran-owned companies like I do, make sure you check out Green Beret Coffee and get yourself 10% off there at checkout. They are roast to order, and it's top quality, and everything goes back to the company itself. Fantastic. Green Beret Coffee, put in the promo code GZPodcast10 for your 10% discount. Now, recently, Granite Zero has become an affiliate, a family member of HR4K. So if you want to support another fantastic veteran-owned company, put in the promo code Granite Zero at checkout at HR4K, all their products, and enjoy them. I wear them. I support them most episodes. They are brilliant. They help support many other companies. They help to support many other veteran charities. They do loads for the veteran community. So if, like me, you like to support them, please put in the promo code Granite Zero at checkout and get yourself 10% off. I'm too good to you, and I'll see you guys soon.